Hello, this is The Thing About Cars, coming to you from the beautiful city of Atlanta, Georgia, USA. It is a wonderful day outside. I don't know if any of the rest of us have had a chance to peek outside. We have a full house around the table today. Becca, are you with us?
I'm here.
And Dawn?
Present.
Ben?
Yeah.
And Dave?
Spiritually here.
Spiritually, excellent. And our special guest for this particular episode, the one, the only, John Montgomery. John, are you there?
Hello, Mickey. Yes. Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you could make it. I was pleased to get your call about the upcoming Italian Car Day, and I want to make sure we get some time to talk about that. But I have a grand trivia auto question that I want to pose to you first before we pose to the rest of the gang. In fact, I have a bunch of material here that it might be fun to play with just in honor of the Italian Car Day theme for this episode. Can I put you on the spot, John, and ask you some Italian car trivia?
Absolutely. I was expecting to be put on the spot. Go ahead.
Okay, so my first question is, in what year did Fiat take over Abarth?
I believe it was 1971, and Carlo Abarth passed away at that time, and I think they took it over. They had plenty of acquisitions. They bought Alfa, they bought Lancia, they bought Maserati all through the years.
Yeah, that is 100% correct. So way to go, John. Let me ask you another one then. While we're at it, the Lamborghini Countach, is it pronounced Countach, by the way?
Countach.
Countach.
Yes.
Okay. The Lamborghini Countach was the first production car to feature what? Was it active aerodynamics? Was it vertically opening scissor doors? Was it an all aluminum body mounted to a tubular steel frame? Or was it side-mounted air intakes? Which of those was the first on the Countach?
I'd have to go with the scissor doors. That was a Bertone design. Marcello Gandini did the design for the car, among a lot of others. Even the Bertone is where the studio came from, where they designed it.
Does anybody else want to challenge that?
No.
Nah.
No.
That's because he's correct. He's absolutely correct. That is well done. Well done, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
So for our topics list today, we have a number of things we want to talk about. Before we go there, I should ask, when is Italian Car Day, and what are the details, logistics, that kind of thing?
Okay. Well, Italian Car Day this year is going to be November 7th. We've had a couple of delays, of course, because of COVID. It was supposed to be in March, but then we moved it to June, and then it got set back again. And we've tried to find a venue that can accommodate it. And so we have the Ferrari Maserati of Atlanta dealership is going to clear their lot and allow us to park all of our cars on their lot and property. And we have a little bit of extra peripheral space if we need it. And there's also plenty of room for spectators. So we're very excited to go out there. And certainly they have a wonderful showroom. They just did a renovation. So those buildings are beautiful.
Wow.
And the cars, when we went, were absolutely stunning, I have to say. It was a really fun day. The obvious question I have to ask is social distancing going to be in effect? What kind of safety measures are you taking, if any?
Yes. Well, we have the masks are highly recommended, if not mandatory, for the inside of any of the buildings, because the patrons will be able to walk inside the building. They're going to have, it's kind of a little bit like an open house, I guess I could say, where you could walk into the showroom. They do have all the protocols there. Masks are available to pick up right there at the door, and hand sanitizer. Out on the lot, we're going to be in an open space. And so we will have, a little bit of distance between the cars. Obviously, we don't have as much real estate to work with as maybe, optimally. But we normally get about 125 cars. And so we have enough room to put them in, but we're going to be pretty much in an open air environment. And so I think with the cooler weather and all, I believe it's going to be a pretty safe venue. And we've been very cautious about all the circumstances surrounding COVID. And so everybody's going to be respectful of that, especially inside the building.
Sure. Well, I can't wait. I hope circumstances prove favorable, and I hope we can all make it. So the first thing I want to talk about today is Ben had a question that he fielded from the Unloved Autos group on Facebook. And Ben, you want to read the question, or shall I toss it out?
Go ahead, because I don't have it in front of me.
Sure. The question was from a friend who said that they were sitting at home watching the 24 hours of Le Mans on television. He has a question regarding the rules. How is Porsche able to run a mid-engine 911 in the race, in the GT class, when Porsche does not produce a mid-engine 911 street car? I thought the GT class had to be based on road-going chassis. Is that true? And Ben said he had an answer for that one.
Yeah. Oh, and you confused me there. It wasn't from Unloved Autos. I did have that question right in front of me. That was from one of my friends in the local Lotus enthusiast group.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, my friend Mick. So thanks Mick for the question. Well, the short version is because the rules allow it. The long version, and it's a shame that we don't have Tim Rogers on with us today. But if we'd known this question was coming,
yeah, right.
Because he is the best racing expert I know. So I consulted him on it and did a little of my own research. So essentially, yes, it's a production-based class. Technically, it's in the GTE, I believe, class, which does require production-based chassis. However, the rules of the class do allow a certain amount of leeway. And in extreme cases, a manufacturer can apply for a technical waiver to allow doing things that will keep their cars competitive in the class. And Tim's cheeky little comment on the whole thing was, but also money talks.
Mhm.
All right, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's basically the gist of it. Due to all the different technical things, in the class regulations, they can do it. The rest of the chassis is still very production related. And of course, we should note this is a form of racing that is governed by the FIA, which governs so much racing around the world.
Mm-hmm. Right. So money talks, and they can apply for a special dispensation to get their car in there. I mean, what I would want to know then is why is there not a specific class for the kind of car that Porsche's already producing? What's the advantage to being in the mid-engine class without a mid-engine engine?
Well, the class isn't by necessity mid-engine, but it was what worked best for the closest thing they had, I think.
I get it.
Yeah.
Cool. So my question is how do we get tickets to the next 24-hour Le Mans?
That would be nice.
We can all go. I can imagine Dawn pulling up in her Targa.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Right. So, Dave, speaking of Targa, I don't know if this is a good segue or not. The last episode we did last week was midlife crisis cars, and this week we're supposed to talk about having a midlife crisis on a budget.
This came up as we were researching conversations on midlife crisis cars, and I thought it was amusing because something about midlife crisis cars on a budget strikes me as an oxymoron. But as and their definition was, okay, if you want to have a midlife crisis car on a budget, this is on hotcars.com. Here's 25 cars that run for $15,000 or less. And I was just kind of rapidly scrolling through the website, and like 2/3 of the way down is a Porsche Boxster, and I'm like, under $15,000. And
oh yes, a lot of high-end European cars don't hold value that much.
Right, and so that was the point. Is like, okay, this is your midlife crisis. You're not buying new for a midlife crisis,
right?
But we, thinking that we're talking about Italian cars. My last job, I sat. My office was right across the street from a Chrysler Fiat dealership, and a friend of mine came there in his midlife crisis to buy a Fiat 500, which is a fun car to drive. I didn't exactly picture it as a midlife crisis car, especially when it's sitting right next to the Fiat Spider. That strikes me as a better midlife crisis car. The thing with the 500 though, it's a fun car to drive.
Yeah.
And yeah, he can't carry anything in it, but his job, he's a conductor, so all he really needs to carry is batons.
Oh my. That's about all you'll fit in that car because it looks like a clown car.
You can actually fit some things in it, though. My wife and I rented a 500 while we were on vacation up in Spokane, Washington once. And it was the Sport, too, which is identifiable by the little red outline on the center of the wheel covers. And we got her grandmother's walker into the back of the thing when we took her out to dinner one night. So
not the grandmother, just the walker.
I was thinking the same thing.
She was in one of the actual seats, but her walker was in the back.
It sounded like we tied her to the top.
And it would have been a more fun car to drive had the streets not been so rough. The sport model has pretty stiff suspension, not as stiff as you can go, but the frost heaved and well pocked streets up there made it a bit of a tooth rattler.
Sure.
Right. John, have you ever purchased a car out of midlife crisis frustrations?
Every single time, it seems like. And I have 3 Fiat 500s, so maybe in a midlife crisis, that's the car you buy after the lawyers get done with you.
Oh,
Right.
gotcha.
That's too funny. So among all your midlife crisis cars, have any stood out as being your favorites, or something that another person may choose to avoid?
Well, probably my next one, but I can say that the thing about most of the cars that I own, I have 17 cars and 3 motorcycles, and they range a pretty good spectrum. I have a Volkswagen Thing, I have a Mazda Miata, I have 4 Fiat Spiders, 3 Fiat 500s, a Lancia Scorpion, a Bertone X19, which is the Fiat X19, and 2 Ducatis. So I have a number of entertaining machines, but they're kind of like the penny stocks of the exotic car market. You just don't throw all the money at one car.
Right.
Well, see, that's how I am. Yeah.
I think that's an excellent description. I don't think there's anything wrong with that description at all. I think if your stable is full and if you got the toys that you want, then go for it.
Right, and they're easier and cheaper to maintain most of the time, and you can have multiple cars without an entire outlay. Some of the more exotic cars, might set you back $4,000 for an exhaust system, and so I just don't want to go that way.
Yeah,
They've got some really nice interiors.
Yes.
Looking at some places.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
something the Italians have always had very good stylish interiors and nice leather.
Very, very nicely designed and stylish.
I wanted to throw out Corinthian again there.
Very cool. So doing the whole midlife crisis thing, what else was on the list, Dave, in terms of the budget cars? Did anything else on that list stand out to you?
Well, what really stood out to me, so my Jeep Wrangler is on the list. It's like number 2 out of 25, and I'm like, we've established that I too, typically buy cars, in anticipation of midlife crisis.
Right.
I think the number one of all 25 for the midlife crisis car that they landed on was the Mini Cooper, the Mini Cooper convertible. And, it's like, they're fun, but if we think of midlife crisis as, being defined as typically a, crisis of your masculinity, I'm just not sure I'm seeing it with the powder blue Mini Cooper that they've got.
Yeah, exactly. That car doesn't it doesn't scream at me.
Yeah.
But that may be like any man having a puppy. It's like, oh, look at your cute car.
Yeah, I think they're just throwing any old car out there, honestly, at this point.
Too funny. I mean, there are some on this list that stand out to me as things that would be fun, even if they would be completely unwise to buy, like the BMW 840 Ci, which I have always had this weird fascination with that particular car, 2-door BMW, and it just looks like a fun thing to drive. Believe it or not, the Saab 9.3 convertible, even though it's no longer in production, I wouldn't mind driving that, but even that one doesn't scream as a masculinity preserving vehicle. But the one that is on the list that keeps coming up on my list is the Dodge Challenger, and for that matter, the Chrysler 300C with the Hemi. Those two things have stayed on my radar for whatever reason. But,
yeah.
Ben, what about you? Is your Lotus your midlife crisis car?
Not at all.
Oh,
no, I've been a fan of them my whole life, and the thing is so small that nobody's going to look at it and think I'm compensating or projecting or anything. So
I don't know. It's got that exotic appeal to it. It's
well, it is very sporty, but it's not necessarily macho.
Right. Macho. That's too funny. Dawn, what's on your radar for today? Anything crossing your desk?
This is really interesting, talking about the Italian cars and how we all kind of look at those. They are smaller in vehicle size. They're kind of, they fit the Italian sensibility of getting in spaces and fitting 7 cars across 3 lanes, which if you've ever been in Rome, you know what I'm talking about. But it doesn't strike me as a midlife crisis car like some of the bigger macho type of cars do. Although they're cute. I've always thought Italian cars were cute.
When we did the Italian Car Day thing last time, there was some real artwork on the road there that some of the other manufacturers could stand to learn a thing or two from. But, having said that, I've probably just pissed off all the other manufacturers in the world. So
there goes our sponsorship deals.
Exactly. Go well.
That's what opinions are about.
That's what opinions are about. Exactly. Although, if there are any Italian car manufacturers out there who want to sponsor our program, we'd happily drive your artwork around.
Yes, we would.
Yes,
There you go.
So my technical question, which we don't actually have a technical corner for the show, we may have to establish one. But if the question is, if high mileage motor oil has a better anti-wear package, or better detergents, why not just use that from the start? And I thought that was actually a pretty decent question. Why do they market something that's specifically for high mileage engines that simply isn't in use from the start? If it's so good for your engines, why not just use it all the time? I didn't know if anybody wanted to take a stab at that answer.
Well, I could only guess, but I think the main reason they market it at all is because it's something that they can say, hey, this product is different, so you should buy it. I think it's probably more of a money-making thing than anything.
It could be. John, you have any ideas about why they do that?
I believe that people tend to that buy oil tend to do a lot of the work themselves, and so I think it's a good seller, as he was saying, that people want the longevity of their car, and they feel like this may be the way to do it. Obviously, there's a lot of selections out there, but I use it on some of my older vehicles, and I think it probably has a little bit more elasticity, perhaps. Clingability. You ever notice when you drain the oil in a car, a lot of times it just runs out a lot faster than it goes in, and just all the tenacity of the oil is kind of dripped off of the surfaces and shed its clingability, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think it is part marketing, but however, some cars tend to use a little bit of oil. Maybe these additives help it a little bit.
The one difference that I've heard of, and I don't know if this is true, I don't know if this holds any water or what, but is that there are conditioners in the stuff that keep your gaskets and your seals soft and pliable.
Right.
And that's the only other difference that I've heard of, that a new engine may not favor too much. Like those things might actually be detrimental to new components, whereas they're safe for older components. But I don't know why that would be the case.
I think from a chemical perspective, because detergents actually will reduce alkalinity, that they have a higher base level. And so if you're reducing alkalinity without going into acidic, things like seals are not going to break down or dissolve, which is a good thing if you think of something, that especially a high mileage or an older vehicle where you may have a harder time getting a seal or a gasket because the alkalinity is lower, they'll last longer.
Interesting. Okay, so that may be the reason right there.
And, it goes back to when we talked about how the average age of a modern vehicle is around 11 to 12 years, and people keep their vehicles surprisingly around 6 years now. So I think that's I think it's all those things, but the marketing piece is probably really ripe with when you look at what the marketers are seeing people keeping their vehicles.
Huh. I think you're right. 11 years, I think, is what we get from the car dealership side, is what the average life of it. So that's, lasts most marriages, it's a longer time.
Oh, boy. Okay. So for the rest of the show, I have this idea. It might get kind of chaotic. We may have to go back and do some editing here. But I have a bunch of trivia, more Italian car trivia that we can try amongst a group. And I'm trying to figure out how to best structure this, right? I've got 20 questions and 20 answers. And the first 10 questions are for children, and the last 10 questions are for adults. This comes from a website called zoo.com, It's how much do you know the Italian car makers? But I think this is one of those instances where I wish we had a buzzer system that I could call out a question and the first person to buzz in can answer it.
Yeah.
And then we could
The
keep
first
score.
person to go, eh.
Right. And the first person who, the person who gets the most answers right gets to, I don't know, get a cardboard cookie or something.
You can do the unmute thing.
That's not a bad idea.
I mean, the first person to unmute, and you could, you can see our participants and who's unmuted and muted. So.
Right. Well, let's try it. If not, we'll just do some creative editing, or if it doesn't work, then we'll just try a free-for-all system. So everybody can mute themselves and unmute yourself if you've got an answer, and I'll keep an eye on the chart. All right, here we go. 10 questions. This is from the kids portion of this trivia set, which is, which supercars have a badge that feature a black horse on a yellow background? Ben goes first.
That would be Ferrari.
That is correct. It is Ferrari. Well done, Ben. Question number 2, which supercars have a badge that features a raging bull? Ben, what's the answer?
Lamborghini.
That is, of course, Lamborghini. That's right. Question number 3, which Italian company recently built an electric hypercar called the Battista? I figured John would know this one. No? Nobody? The answer
perhaps is Pininfarina, perhaps.
That is actually correct. Well done, John.
Okay.
Yeah. Question number 4, the Italian flag is made up of which 3 colors? Ben.
Red, white, and green.
Red, white, and green. That is correct. Number 5, what sort of vehicle did Lamborghini first build before it built cars? Ben again.
Farm tractors.
That's right. They built tractors once upon a time before the owner turned around and said he wanted to build a sports car to tell Ferrari to go to hell. I think that's the right story, isn't it? I hope I'm not crossing wires there.
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
Yeah. All right, number 6. Where in Italy are Ferraris built? What's the name of the city? John.
Maranello.
I have it as Modena.
Okay, well, they're close by.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and number 7 is, what is Mr. Ferrari's first name? John again.
Enzo.
Enzo is correct. Number 8, which German car company owns Lamborghini? I think Ben has that one.
That would be the Volkswagen Audi group.
That is correct. The Volkswagen Audi group bought the whole shebang once upon a time, and I think they still have it. I don't think it's been sold away from that yet. Number 9, what is Lamborghini's new hybrid concept car called? No one. It's called the Sian, or the Xian. That's what I have it as. And the number 10 is, we're going to do a free-for-all, so everybody can unmute on this one. Name 2 Ferraris that have V12 engines in them. And there are
512 and crap. No, that's not a V12. That's a flat 12. I'm sorry.
Ben strikes out. Anyone else? There's a bunch of them. A12 Superfast, the F12, the Enzo, the FF, the F50. I guess the F40 did not have a V12 in it.
Those are the modern ones. They go back a ways with the V12s, though.
Yeah.
Some of those 250 GTs and things.
Yep. I keep seeing a Jaguar around here that has the old V12 engine in it, and I kind of want to drive it. But I've heard that they're expensive to maintain.
So, John, you'll be happy to know that I name my cats after cars, and I currently have a Ferrari and a Lamborghini.
Oh, excellent. Well, there you go.
John, you'll be happy to know that.
Well, I currently have a Bentley, Ferrari, and Lamborghini. We used to have a Mercedes and a Porsche. And my husband keeps trying to put a Pinto in here. And I said, sorry, not going to happen.
What were you about to say, Dave?
I vote for the Pinto over there.
I was going to say, John, you'll be happy to know I name cocktails, homemade cocktails, after Italian cars.
Oh, that's good. Well, one of the things that owning an Italian car will really help your colorful language. I mean, I've had more colorful language in my garage over Italian cars than I could ever learn otherwise.
Cats will do that to you, too.
Well, and everybody will be happy to know I named my cats after Southern rock singers. So I have a Charlie and an Elvis.
Oh my God! So, Dave, can we bring a pitcher full of some Italian cocktail to Italian Car Day? Is that country?
I think that's that's a good idea. Nothing says safe and healthy during a time of COVID like combining cocktails and automobiles.
We'll get you a table.
There we
Oh,
go.
awesome.
But alcohol kills
In a blender.
bacteria, doesn't it?
Well, that's my assumption. You know, get one of those big bottles of Galliano, and we'll figure out make with it.
There you go.
I love it. All right. So, okay, we have 10 more questions that are much harder than the kids' questions. Shall we do those, or you guys want to put something else on the table before we jump into that?
I can't
Bring
believe those were kids' questions. So hey, yeah, go for it.
And by the way, Mickey, the confusion was, remember, I have a Yeti. My mute button is on the microphone.
Yeah.
So when I hit that, and then you said I wasn't mute, I had to swap them all around, and
Yep, no
so
worries.
that's what was going on.
Well, I have a feeling that these are going to be John's wheelhouse here, these 10 questions. And so I don't know if we could put John on the spot again and see if he can do a rapid fire answer for any of these. And if he can't,
try.
yeah, if he can't, then let's the rest of us chime in. But these are much tougher questions. And let's just see where these take us conversationally. Are you ready, John?
I'm ready.
Okay. Where was the prancing horse badge first used?
Probably Enzo used it on Cisitalia, which was the precursor to the Ferrari brand.
Mhm.
After he left Alfa Romeo, he used to run the Alfa Romeo racing team.
And this is why you're going to see why I think these answers are much harder. The true answer here is, and you may be right in terms of cars, but the actual badge was used on a First World War fighter plane of Italian pilot Francesco Baracca.
Ah,
So that's how obscure these second adult-oriented questions get. The second question is, what was Lamborghini's first production car? And the hint is it was 1964.
Yeah.
I think it was called the P400.
That's one of them, but that was not their first. Ben?
Oh,
This is probably incorrect as well, but I want to say GT350.
That is correct. Ben got
Oh,
it.
it is. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
well done. That is correct. So question number 3, what do the Ferrari 308 GT4, the Lamborghini Countach, and the Lancia Stratos have in common? They were all designed by Marcello Gandini.
That's where I was warming up to, but wasn't quite there yet. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Gandini, not Bertone.
I was going to chime in and say, what are names difficult to pronounce for Southerners?
I believe Gandini also penned the rather pedestrian Alfa Romeo Berlina that my dad had.
Whoa. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Number 4, what is the exact model of the Ferrari featured in Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Oh, no, I should know that.
I should know that.
Oh, I've seen that movie.
If it was a real car, I believe it would be the GT California, but they used a replica in the movie.
Yeah.
They had to have, because there's no way they killed that car like that.
Yeah, right.
That is the worst part of any movie ever, except for the portion that goes in the water.
Risky Business.
Yeah, and Risky Business.
Even in the fairly low key street scenes, they could have used a real one. But if you look closely, you'll see taillights off an MGB.
Oh, okay. That's too funny. So you're close. You're very close. You're right on it, except for the year. The car is a 1961 Ferrari 250 GT California Spider SWB. That's the full designation.
Yeah.
So, okay, number 5. Who told Horatio Pagani he should use Mercedes engines in his supercars, and what links them?
Probably Daimler.
No, not Daimler. I'm just going to read this one. We're never going to get it. Because Horatio Pagani's Argentinian countryman Fangio told him if he ever built a supercar, it should use a Mercedes engine. It doesn't say why, but apparently this guy just said it.
I think I know why. I mean, well, it's a guess, but it's a connection at least, because Fangio did drive for Mercedes back in the 50s.
Oh, I see.
Right.
Okay. Name Ferrari's first turbocharged road car from 1982.
Ooh, I didn't know they did turbos then.
Yeah, it's the 208 GTB Turbo is the car that we're talking about there. This is what makes the adult side of these things so much more difficult. These are very obscure.
Nuanced.
Yeah, very nuanced questions. Number 7, what Italian supercar shared its platform with the Citroen?
Maserati.
That's correct. Maserati Merak. That's the one. Number 8, 2 British drivers have won Formula One World Championships for Ferrari. Name them. This is where we need Tim.
You're no kidding.
Oh, I know.
Mike Hawthorne in 1958.
Oh.
John Surtees in 1964.
No, that's way before I was thinking.
Right. Now, this one's a newer question. What's the Lamborghini Huracan Performante's Nürburgring lap time?
Ridiculously fast.
Yeah, because we've all been there. We watched it happen, right? So it was 6 minutes, 52.01 seconds.
Wow.
That's painfully fast.
Yeah.
And the last question, I'm thinking one or two of us should be able to get this one, is the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio uses an engine based on a Ferrari design, but what saloon car featured an actual Ferrari engine?
Oh, goodness.
And the answer here is the Lancia Thema.
Ah.
Lancia Thema, that's the one that they say. Anyway, so the adult questions are much, much harder.
Yeah.
And Zoom.com did an excellent, whoever did that article did an excellent job doing their homework, but I can't imagine being expected to know any of those adult questions unless I was really steeped in Italian car culture, like in the garage daily, right? So
yeah.
I feel like I just sat for the LSATs.
Cool. Well, does anyone else have anything else for this episode of The Thing About Cars?
My head hurts from those questions, and I just want to dunk it in a bucket of spaghetti right now.
On top of spaghetti, that's right.
Yeah, with some Lambrusco.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mickey, if I could tell you the website, I didn't give you the website for the show.
Please do, yes.
It's ItalianCarDayAtlanta.com, and it's open to any Italian car, motorcycle. We have all the categories, the main categories. We also have an Italian open class. Like, let's say, for instance, someone wants to bring an ESO or something like that. We have Italian cycle. And we also invite French cars to come to our show, which is very interesting. We usually get a half dozen or so. But, they're entertaining, and it's just great to have them come out with us and join us and have fun with us. And, the spectators are free. We will have, for the gate, it's $25 per car, and you can register online at a discount. Motorcycles are a little cheaper. I think they're $15. And a second car, if you want to bring a second car, it's a discount. But, we all have a good time. They're all enthusiasts to come out here, and we really do have a great spirit to come out there and see the cars and just enjoy the day. So that's kind of what it's about.
It was a good, fun day. And when we visited, you did a raffle. Are you going to do a raffle this year?
Yes, we'll do a raffle this year. And we certainly welcome your crew to come out and enjoy it with us and speak to the owners. We have actually a podcast link to our Italian Car Day Atlanta website. So we have that. And also the gallery pictures of several years prior are up on the website. You can take a look and see what kind of cars come out there. But we just have a great time. And, it's so different than some shows that have everything from wine tasting to fashion shows and auctions and high dollar. This is for the people that are core enthusiasts that really love the vehicle, and they may not be 100-point cars. I mean, we've had cars like the Ferrari Enzo, but we've also had, a relatively driver Alfa Romeo, Fiat, or even Maserati. So there's something for everybody.
Absolutely. It was a fun time when we last visited, and I hope we can join you there this year.
Thank you.
John, thanks for joining us today. This has been a great deal of fun.
Thank you so much for having me.
And to our friends, thank you for joining us for this episode of The Thing About Cars. As always, we're glad you're with us. And if you can meet us at Italian Car Day, we would happily look forward to seeing you there. Come up and say hi. And with any luck, we'll be doing some recording there that day. In the meantime, hope you and yours are all staying safe. We'll see you with another episode in about a week. Take care.
Bye.
See ya.
Ciao.
Ciao, Bella.
La bella.
Thank you for listening. This has been The Thing About Cars. We'll see you on the road.